Ek gesels vanoggend met Ellen Browde en hy is die hoofuitvoerende ampte en stigter van SA Harvest. Ellen, welcome to GROOTplaas.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for having me on your terrific show.
Absolutely, it's a privilege for me as well. Ellen, I think we should never presume that people know who you are. So SA Harvest, if you can give me a bit of background, what is the heart of SA Harvest?
So the heart of SA Harvest really, as you said in your introduction, is to end hunger in South Africa.
As simple as that.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. And it's an interesting thing because many organizations and companies have missions, because that is our mission, that really are sort of marketing jargon in a way. They're not really achievable. And we believe that this is very different. We believe we can end hunger in this country. And we do this by combining and integrating two specific strategies. The first is to feed people who are hungry. There are 20 million people on the spectrum of food vulnerability in this country, ranging from those who go to bed hungry every night through to those who run out of money each month to feed their families. Now, the going to bed hungry every night includes, to our everlasting shame in this country, millions of children. Now, the fact of the matter is that we have enough food to feed these people. That's the problem.
Yes.
Is that there's enough food and we just need some intervention to do it. And so, yeah, that's the one side of our strategy. And the other side of our strategy is what we call systemic intervention. So it's intervening in those elements of society that can actually end hunger. The charity side of the business is absolutely necessary in our country because otherwise people would be starving to death, literally. So the NGO space plays a huge part in saving lives. But integrating the two is how we're going to end hunger. And we believe we can do it.
Yeah, I recently read an article of a father who, at night, he puts on the pots and pots of water, and then he also almost pretends that he's making food, and then he puts the kids in bed and says, I'll wake you up when the food's ready. And then there simply is just not food. So I think when we get to the topic of hunger, for somebody who hasn't experienced it like in fullness, it's just a word. But when we look at the hunger need in South Africa, it's massive. It's massive. And the role that you guys as an organization play, you obviously, there was a need to start the organization and to bring it to life. How has it gone in the previous years?
So firstly, what you're saying here is absolutely 100% correct. You know, hunger is a word. Often people say, oh, well.
Oh, I'm hungry.
And, you know, yeah. And just take a mother whose a newborn child or young baby is hungry, you know. Yeah. They're screaming and crying. And then for those fortunate enough able to feed them, can you imagine millions of children who are hungry? It's actually unthinkable.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking and a catastrophe in our country. So to answer your question then, you know, from our perspective, what we have done in the last 3 years, I mean, I'm very proud of, we've delivered over 40 million meals now in that period. And it's been quite an amazing journey. I mean, we started with one truck in Cape Town, a driver, Doro Manisi, and me. And Doro's now the manager of the Cape Town branch, which is just doing amazingly. So the story's wonderful. And me, and we built it up. And COVID, I have to say, was a hell of a boost because people, you know, woke up.
Yes.
You know, there's a certain unconsciousness about hunger, as you point out. But COVID somehow woke donors up, woke food donors up, money donors up, and it was an amazing period for our food rescue operation.
Yeah.
It's sad, though, that those people have gone back to sleep.
Yeah, it's true what you say, Alan. And like most things, I think COVID brought a whole new perspective to the way we see things and we feel about things. Now, you guys recently received a very big parcel of a donation. And I think when it comes to the way SA Harvest works, you can't think about you guys and not think about logistics, because it's basically transporting. You're the middleman, right? What are the challenges with that?
Well, I mean, you're 100% correct. I mean, in essence, while our work has certain strategy and has a certain purpose, which is, clear in terms of feeding people, but in essence, we're a logistics company. I mean, we have to, the rescuing of food that would have gone to waste from the whole food chain, farmers, manufacturers, retailers, we need trucks. So we have our own trucks. We have a fleet of trucks in Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, and now in our new branch in logistieke-uitdagings near Umtata in the Eastern Cape. But the problem is so huge that obviously we can't collect everything in our own relatively small fleets. So we need the help of external logistics companies. And here you're talking about 900 tons of citrus. And we've started that, but we need companies with interlinks that can help us, mainly from the eastern side of the country, White River area, through to Durban, through to Joburg. And we've had huge support from Maersk and from Unitrans and one or two others. And this is what we need. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. We cannot solve the problem on our own. And we're appealing for any logistics companies who have interlinks to be able to help us bring this to the point where we can distribute them to feed hungry kids. If they could help us, I mean, it would be an amazing boost to the whole operation.
Alan, for people who might not know, you mentioned that, you know, the food that you've already, or the meals that you've already managed to get to people. So we're talking about the logistics of it all. You as founder and you as organization, you almost put your hand up and said, we see this problem, we see this challenge that is in our country. We are willing to go out. We are willing to be the middleman. How difficult is it for farmers? I mean, how does that process work for you to go and get those fruits and the food before it goes to waste?
So this is a very challenging problem. The food that goes, just to tell you a little bit about waste in South Africa, there's 10 million tons of food that goes to waste. And relatively good food. I mean, food that is absolutely edible and often very nutritious food. And that goes throughout the food chain. So it takes organization, because the waste that happens at the agricultural level, at the manufacturing level, and at the retail level is huge. All these tons come from there. But for those organizations themselves to manage, although they do, I mean, our retailers and all of those in the food chain do an enormous amount to have the food rescued, but they can't do it all. Because they've got a business to run, it's expensive, and a lot of that food, of course, lands up in landfill. And that has its own environmental problems, and obviously it's food that could be fed to people. But to get to them and to get to the farmers and to organize with them and to go to retailers, it's a very challenging task. But we take that at the moment, the procurement of the food, probably at the moment is the most important and vital aspect of our company, and we're putting a lot of resources into it.
It almost feels to me like there needs to be a certain call to action at the end of this discussion, because these days, well, not these days, it's time that we should stop just talking about making a difference, but if you hear an opportunity where you can actually play a part. So how do farmers and how do they contact you or just get in touch? How does that process work?
So, yeah, thank you for this because, you know, my entire raison d'etre for getting involved is that I believe in action. I've lived a great life in South Africa, been very fortunate, and I really felt it was time to give back. And I know that millions of South Africans feel that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the only way we give back is through action. And that's what SA Harvest is about. So, you know, we've started an initiative called SA Harvest's Volunteer Army. And, you know, there's every area of our business, from finance, from operations, from marketing, from admin help, that people could help, from being in our beneficiaries, helping them, getting on trucks. And so what I'd like to suggest is that if anybody's interested in helping and becoming part of the SA Harvest Volunteer Army, to go onto our website. There's contact numbers there, and to phone, most probably a woman, an amazing woman, who's our admin manager, Shelley Abbey. She would probably answer that phone and make arrangements for people to get involved.
We've got around a minute left. Are there any certain specific foods or produce that you rather would have?
So, Mia, that's such an important question. So, you know, one of the problems in our space, in our NGO feeding space, is that people rely on starch, mainly maize. And we know that mealie meal, while it staves off hunger, is a problem. I mean, it has no nutrition, but it's the cheaper side of food, so people buy it. So type 2 diabetes is an epidemic in our country. Many people are overweight, in fact, obese and starving. So just to answer your question, we in SA Harvest are absolutely adamant that we deliver a nutritious meal. And what we have done is we've put on our platform, our technology platform, we now have a way of measuring the average nutrition that is delivered to any beneficiary, and we have over 200 of them, community-based organizations that feed the people. And we know on a monthly basis, based on international standards, what level of nutrition we are delivering to them. So mainly,
I think me and you, we should definitely have a conversation again. We've run out of time, but I just want to thank you for the work you're doing, and please, let's pick this up on a different occasion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Dankie dat jy ingeskakel het. Bly net daar, die groot ontbyt is volgende. Ek sien mekaar môre. Ek hoop jy het 'n lekker dag. Totsiens.